Hi, welcome to this video. This is just a brief video just to show you how to install Node.js on your computer. Now I'm going to be using my Mac in order to do this. I have tried to do it on a Windows installation and it's very much a similar process. The installation pages may be very slightly different, but generally it's the same thing. Node has done a very good job in trying to standardize that. So now the thing is, on my Mac here, I already have Node installed. Now the way you can check if you've already got Node installed is go to your terminal or your DOS prompt, or if you're on Windows, and just simply type in node space -v. And if you have Node installed, you'll get a version number. If you don't have Node installed, it'll come back with some Node is not defined or some kind of error saying it can't work. The other thing you need to check is that npm is installed. npm is Node's package manager, npm. So we're going to be using that a lot to install frameworks, and we're going to be using Node quite a lot in order to run JavaScript-based websites, so that the JavaScript stuff can do its magic, as it were, in the browser. So we need Node in order to do that on our local machines. So just check that you've got npm installed as well, and again you should get a version number, which is absolutely fine. So if you haven't got these, what you need to do is go to the nodejs.org website, nodejs.org, and basically it will detect which computer you're on. So if you're on a Mac like me, it'll automatically come to macOS 64. If you're on Windows, it'll say Windows 64 or 32 if you're on a very old Windows machine. And for the purposes of our development here, 12.13, or not so much 12.13, but the LTS version, by the time you come to this video, these version numbers could easily have changed. But you may as well just go for the LTS. It's a safe way to develop. We're not looking at bleeding edge features. We're just looking at getting the core functionality of Node.js into our computer and available. So when you've done that and downloaded it and followed the scripts, you should have these available to you on the command line. If that isn't the case, what I would suggest, that I've found so many different things that can go wrong, and I just simply can't cover all of them on this video. But there's a number of things you can try. Number one is to actually just exit out of the terminal. So you can just quit it, or you can type in exit and then quit terminal. That'll quit it completely. And sometimes just by simply doing that and then by loading terminal back up again with a fresh window, sometimes that cures it. It just depends. If you have any other errors, it's always a good idea to perhaps just go to Google and just type in, whatever the error is in here. And sometimes you do get some answers straight away on various websites. And we're going to be looking over the course of our app building course. We're going to be looking at different ways, not only to build the app, but also to debug it, where to look for help, the resources. You're going to be needing that a lot, because I've been developing for a long time, but I consistently still go and look for references on the website, because there's always somebody who'll know an answer for you that you don't know. So I'm going to teach you some of the tricks I've learned there. But yeah, hopefully by the time you've installed this on your Windows or your Mac, you'll have Node up and running, and you'll now be ready to sort of be able to start. Because when we run the live streams, I'm going to be on the assumption that you've got that in place, that Node and npm is there, because we just haven't got the time to do an install of Node every time we run a live stream. So if you come here from a live stream where you need to install it, this is what you need to do to get Node and npm up and running. If you get them up and running, most of the stuff will then sort of fall into place. The other two things I would like to do while I'm here is to globally install the Vue.js library. Now, I've got that here. So installation for Vue.js, there's a number of different ways that you can do that, but the one we're interested in is we could install Vue, but there's another one I was more interested in. I'm just going to have a look in my history here. This one here. So npm install -g at vue/CLI. The important thing here is the G. This means it makes it a globally available framework that we can use on any of our apps that we decide to build. So it doesn't matter where you are in your folder here. It doesn't matter. This, because it's global, it's irrelevant. It's not related to any particular website. So install this. I've already got it installed, but I mean, if I press enter and just see what happens here, it'll probably just say already installed, or I don't know. It may upgrade it or something like that. But basically, we've now got Node, so that gives us our JavaScript fanciness. We've now got Vue, which gives us our framework to work with. Now, everything else is pretty much site-specific. So, for example, P5 we're going to be using quite a lot. Well, P5 we can install in the website using NPM once we've got the website up and running. So we don't need to do that globally. In fact, I don't know if we can, but we don't need to. So it's not a problem at the minute. The only other thing I would suggest is we need an editor. And to be honest, one of the best free editors out there is the Microsoft Visual Studio Code. And it's dead easy to install. Again, if we let's just do a search here for Microsoft Visual Studio Code. There we go. And again, you should get a download for Mac, so it knows what computer you're on. Obviously, it'll say Windows if you're on Windows. Now, I've already got it installed. So if I bring up my dock here, you can see I've already got Visual Studio Code installed. So I don't need to do the install, but just again, it's dead straightforward. It's Microsoft install. Just run through the whole install procedure. The one thing I will say is you come to a screen where it says add a context item for opening a file and add a context item for opening a folder, and assign files to type or something like that. There's 4 boxes, but only one of them's ticked and the other 3 are not. I would recommend tick all 4 boxes when you get to that tab. It just makes it easier to access, to load up folders and files in Visual Studio Code, rather than maybe doing it the long way around. It's not going to break anything if you don't. It's not going to make it harder. It's just one of them conveniences that you can have, and just make it that much easier to do. That said, by the time you've done all that, you should have NPM. We know we've got that. Node and Vue. Great. It's minus V. Okay. So 4 or 5, which is fine. So they're the 3 things we need to sort of get up and running and get started. P5 will install on a site-by-site basis. Visual Studio Code. Now, I'm not sure if by default you can do this or whether you have to do something in the Visual Studio Code. Something you can do, it gives you a command line shortcut to load it up as well, which can be very convenient sometimes. So I'll give you an example of that. If I, let's see, what folders have I got here? Let's go to my desktop. Let's see what have I got. P5 zip. Desktop Mac Pro. Okay, let's just make a new folder here. Make dir test app, for example. So then I can cd into test app. So I'm now inside that folder, and I could use this. I might say, well, I want to open this in Visual Studio Code. Now, ordinarily, what you could do is go to Visual Studio Code, go to File, go to Open, navigate round to this folder, click Open, and everything opens up. But Visual Studio Code gives you a nice little shortcut. As I say, I'm not sure if it's installed by default, but there will be something somewhere to install this. And all I have to do is type in code, and then the path to where I want the code to open. Now in Linux and Mac, to say the current path where I am right now, all I have to do is a dot. So that basically says open the current folder in VS Code and Visual Studio Code. So if I press enter, and it's just opened this window on my other screen here. So it's opened up this Visual Studio Code, but notice that it's opened it as test app. It's opened it in the test app folder. So again, just a real convenience. If I was to do this manually, I'd have to go to open, then, well, assuming it opens up on my home folder, so then I have to go to desktop, test app, open, and we get the same effect, but you just get little conveniences like that. There's these IDEs, that these are called, sort of glorified editors, they come with a lot of convenience methods and features, and we're going to learn a lot of these as well as we go along. So I'm hoping at this point you've got all these things in place: Node, npm, Vue CLI, and an editor of sorts. If you're on Windows, you could use, if you want a more simple editor, you could use something like Notepad++. That's a common one. You can use Atom. I use Atom on here sometimes. There's a few others that are out there: Sublime Text, Text Wrangler, TextMate. So there's a few different ones out there, and then you've got the paid for ones. So you've got like PHP Storm, and I think maybe there might be some others. There's also, on the free ones, there's Eclipse. You know what? I'm just going to check what I've got here because I downloaded a load. Where are we? Developer tools. Here we go. Atom, Eclipse, Visual Studio Code. Android Studio and Xcode are more for the mobile app development, so we probably won't be touching on them too much. Certainly not in the early days. So yeah, there's a number of different editors that we can choose. Either way, at this point, if you've got all that up and running, great, ready to go. And when we start doing the live streamings, you'll be able to just pick up from that point, and that's where I'm going to be assuming you're working from. Hope this video has been helpful. If you need any more advice, drop a comment in the video. Perhaps do a search for some other YouTube videos by other people who've done some. I did a search, and there's a number out there, so maybe they do a better video than me in the installation process. Hopefully see you soon on a live stream.